Hello and welcome. And now let's look at verse number 35, a natural pimiento from the book Footprints on Waters Free. Now, in this verse speaks about naturalness, how life naturally appears, how life alone appears naturally as all forms and as everything. And the compassion is not sympathy or empathy, but there being no individuality, but just all everything being life or formlessness energetically appearing as form. It also speaks about how everything apparently, in the story, of course, uh, seen by humans is from labels or from apparent conditioning. There is not that I would say seen, life, this illusion of individuality sees from the lens of labels or from conditioning, everything that is the behaviors and thoughts, it's all apparent conditioning, be it geographical, cultural, or whatever. But of course, this isn't the story. But this also speaks about how the naturalness of life is as it is. There is no one performing or doing that, it's life appearing as that. Now, it's a bit a long poem, but then I will read out some of the extracts. It's about a young pimiento as muted gene and how that makes her dissimilar, and it's believed that she has special needs, and how the family on a typical festival Christmas dinner or festival dinner gives advice, and because they deems that there is an individual that lives life, and this is what normal is, and this is what average is, and of course there's questioning of that as well, and then there are no questions as well. So let's go through that. Young Pimiento's muted gene made her dissimilar and lean. All alleged she had special needs, would need help in performing deeds. Distinct should be of varied pace, which would make her challenges face. Now, at one such Christmas dinner, the family concerned about her overwhelmed the mother with advice, some futile, some sane, some wise. Now, Aunt Bell advises that there should be a bank account, and Uncle Pepper talks about a future and about life not being normal. Now, the mother is too overwhelmed by these apparent acts of piety. Then Aunt Pepper, who senses mother's fears and found societal labels tricks of tears, questioned about the usual, calmly and tenor casual. Now, I'll read out Aunt Pepper's statements. Well, I do not agree with labels of normal degree. For normal is a mere label on the present scene, unstable. Don't most of us view the present from beliefs in which we are intent, where conditioned is our view by nurture's cuisine and hue? Now, in this, we implies the apparent individual. To be precise, we observe life through the illusion rife of an apparent self small and other seeming calls. A self that seems to come and go, appears as an entity, holds the show, adds to your alleged trials of life, then pushes the self in further strife, forgets and stays lost in illusion, prizes the unreal as real, a delusion. And then Aunt Pepper in tougher tones say, what's usual or average? Aren't they doctrines just baggage? Desires collective captivity, or tricks served as refined activity, or thoughts of power wishing to belong, replaying like a chorus in a song, or like a tune recorded in the loop, the mind completely cooped in hoops. Is this normal or average? Does it help or make one savage? Which one of you is free from stress to guide how to be or address scenarios you think aren't normal, require your effort essential? Is there a way or a formula to live? Isn't life alone determinative? A benchmark who exists to write where there's nothing wrong or right, like an apparent regions diverse. And of course, then she goes on how the Mediterranean is not better than the deserts, and all is simply a balanced ecological. Or she says she may need help to maintain a lifestyle, for peppers like us made this domain hostile. Life abstracted to such an extent that it's forgotten life's not in segments. And by repeating any ordeal, of course, then she goes on in reinforcing, and I'll read this out. This, yeah, she talks about. the pimiento petite. She seems to be unstuffed like the rest, for she isn't caught in abstract quest. So, applied is the tag of special, and she's buried behind the label. Then some avoid her presence, others highlight the difference, yet others don't see eye to eye. Still, none can see the infinite skies. So of course, there's no one who can see that as well, but that will come. When count When one cannot see the other's view or depict the taste of this stew, why stick tags on with that which thrives or portray purpose on the alive? We all see her as distinct hue, but nothing's missing for her to pursue. Her her word is complete, simple and complete, with none to please and less discreet. And is simply what is, with less belonging of cuisines. But simply the rising scene with less belongings of cuisines. Compassion isn't sympathy, empathy, but to see there's no individuality. Like electricity that flows is one, bulbs vary, but favored is none. And if appears the one, this light, how is one dull, the other bright? Yet emptiness alone appears as all, so none's arrogant and none small. All is a dance of traits alive and silent, the ocean waves as eminent ignorant, with nothing beyond this appearance, so no future or person in existence. Then, of course, the mother says, why does her child have to face a fate like that? And she says, the aunt responds, of the maternal bond. All relations are based on separation, of me and other, an illusion. So motherhood becomes possessive from the lens of self, it's missive. And this self is, in its seeming roles, believes in separate souls, then sees itself and others in view as distinct with a life to pursue, woven our stories around time, and seen as life in parallel crime, owned our children and possessions and states and manifestation. And thus the split in time and space, with its looming tests, seems to chase where the eternal seems transitory and reigns individuality, which on variance tends to brood or avoids blames life is in feud, which then brings on a lot of strife in the story of my life, then suffers and creates stress, then suffers more to change, redress, thus agonized tributaries of thoughts, the question of why me is fraught. But dear, there's no individual, be it real or unreal, to feel it's happening to you, for all is an appearance without a clue. Simply life. So all feelings rise, but with none to own them or them prize. There's only what does appear, with none to label tears or fears. Where mothering naturally appears, though the mother's role doesn't steer. As if as is the case in other creatures where self illusion doesn't feature. Now she goes on then, is there a child, a story, known, unknown? And she goes on about what is the self, and then of course she says nothing real, no theme. It's like the life of the individual is like a dream, with nothing real, no theme, simply an appearance of this presence. Yet oneness alone is in presence, is each being an appearance, without a phantom to own the hues or the apparent views. And when there's nothing separate, how can there be one with the fate? Or claim there is no one if all that appears is one? Love alone expresses itself as her, and everything that does seemingly occur. And like a mother loves this nothingness, is each expression. So the expression, like the mother loves this, and each expression is whole. So is your mothering role, she says, and sacred each view, thought of you, perfect your daughter in you. Now, the Pimiento just keeps smiling at the aunt, and the mother then thanks aunt for advice of life's value beyond price. And then aunt explains there's nobody to give an advice. She says, dear, one alone appears as mother and child, and it also seems to appear as everything. So, who to thank and who to resist, and who can whom assist? The song I sing is neither new nor poignant, nor does imbue acceptance, and has always, it's not about acceptance or surrender. That's what she goes on. It's been around, and this song's always been around. Valued, unvalued, heard or not, but bound. Know this apparent world, an apparent account, is purposeless pretense paramount. So, and then of course, it's the ending of the song. So, this was the poem A Natural Pimiento, which seems to speak about how everything that appears is simply, it's like electricity, you could say, appearing as the light in varied forms, very energetic, very alive, with no one doing it. Thank you.